It comes to Kendrick Lamar. Well, if you are ready to see how Kendrick is about to keep the most dominant run in all of music up with, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now, with that said, right now, with the current king of hip hop, well, more than ever right now, Kendrick has realized that he has become the main target in hip hop for both the jealous and miserable crash outs on one side of the genre, and at the same time, he's the main target for the hungry MCs who believe that they can out rap him. And now, with this, despite all the people standing against Kendrick pushing him to drop diss tracks on somebody like Joey right now and responding more to the growing negative sentiments that are coming all from these jealous losers and haters, Kendrick is playing a super tactical game with now both of his biggest rivals in this thing in both Drake and Joey, as with Kendrick.
And this is crazy because these are two completely different sides of hip hop, right? So you got one side of hip hop, because this is not just Drake fans and OVO fans. This is a side of hip hop like DJ Academics and Lil Baby and Young Thug, the ones who are saying that hip hop is weird. And they're attaching on to anything that goes against Kendrick. So they're saying that anyone associated with Kendrick. That's the reason why Doechii is getting such hate and such comments like the Harriet Tubman music comments, or you see Kendrick getting the Free the Slave comments. Anyone associated with TDE, anyone that has any kind of connection to the West Coast, is getting disrespected by OVO. And then they're attaching on to people like Joey, who are going at Kendrick, who are on the completely different side of hip hop. And Joey has said it out his mouth multiple times that he's picking K Dot. He's picking Kendrick over Drake anytime on multiple different occasions. Joey didn't even put Drake in his big three. He said, who's the big three? K Dot, Cole, or Joey? Completely disrespecting Drake. So it's weird to see people like academics who are trying to put Kendrick on the clock, trying to make him respond to Joey. In reality, they don't care about this beef. They don't care about the battle. They don't care about actual hip hop at all. So let them speak. They have no power. They can't say anything. They out here suing, man. What they gonna talk about?
Kendrick's latest moves, both during the final night of the Grand National Tour's run at SoFi Stadium and also with the latest collab that he has just released with Gatorade, well, Kendrick has managed to send his final warning to Joey and at the same time continue to stay on Drake and make sure that he never gets the comeback that he is so desperately trying to put together. And now, before we go any further into how Kendrick did all of this and what it's going to mean, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And now, as the moments that just happened from Kendrick are going to determine how the next major rap beefs end up actually happening, really be sure to leave that like so all of hip hop can see what is about to happen at the top of the rap world. And now, with that said, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick is really setting a new precedent in hip hop right now for both the new foes and old ones, because at this point, as Kendrick is holding the crown of rap so high up that he is so far in the lead that nobody can realistically even achieve a fraction of what he has, Kendrick is moving like only the best MCs who have ever had anywhere near this type of dominance have. And now, what I mean by that is that when it comes to this whole idea and concept of competition and how these elite level rappers approach beef, Kendrick is just coming at his rivals and the people who want his spot in ways that are so tactical and thought through that to call this rap battling is really an understatement, because with what Kendrick is doing, he's playing a game of artistic chess where he is outsmarting people at every single point. And now with what Kendrick did in the most important moment of all of this here was use his biggest power, which was to surprise and scare everybody when they check their feeds and pages, because once again, Kendrick Lamar put out one of his rare posts where we see the most cryptic and important voice in hip hop actually put something out there, and all you see is that black circle and you're waiting to see what it's gonna hold. Well, as the one rapper who, when they post everybody stops, put something up, instead of dropping a diss track or announcing something like the Super Bowl again, Kendrick Lamar dropped the second video in the campaign that he is doing that is making him the first rapper ever to be featured in a campaign with a brand that historically has done all of their collabs with the greatest athletes in the world.
And that's one of the biggest things that we're talking about when it comes to responding to Kendrick. Joey doesn't understand that Kendrick and Drake had a 10-year long beef. This is not a rap battle between Kendrick and Drake. Kendrick told you he wanted Drake to die. That's not a rap battle. They have genuine dislike and hate. Joey, he wants to battle. He wants to spar. He wants to have a boxing match, a MMA competition, and then dap up at the end. Nah, Kendrick does not want to dap up Drake at all. And that's the big difference. And not only that, Kendrick, like I said, he's been building this up for 10 years. So the chess moves. Understand, this is not just about rap battles. Kendrick was out to replace Drake. He wants to remove Drake's influence altogether from the industry, right? From our culture. So he has not just made a bunch of music. Understand, he has to break the records before Drake breaks the records. He has to go on the stadium tour before Drake does. He has to have the breath control and the quality of the stadium tour. He has to have these accolades, the Grammys, the Pulitzer. He has to have these things when it comes to being on the Gatorade commercial, the Super Bowl. Man, to do his specific performance and still break the records. Right? Even after everyone said it was boring. Then going into being a Chanel ambassador. Nah, I don't believe Joey can keep up with it. Nah, understand right now, you're not just rap battling Kendrick saying, I'm a better rapper than you. Look at my double entendres, man. I'm not trying to hear that right now, Joey. I don't give a damn about how much better you think your rap. Nah, I don't care about your bars right now, bro. This ain't it. This ain't it. It's way more than that. Because at this point, Joey has not dropped a Euphoria or anything that's extremely scathing that can compete with anything that Kendrick has dropped in his Drake beef. So we just talking about music, it's not worth it. After everything that Kendrick has built from this beef, all the lives that have changed from this, nah, it's not just about words anymore. Who cares about rippity rapping? Nah, that's not enough. That ain't enough. Yeah, and you're right. The Olympics and possibly FIFA. Absolutely.
Of course, Gatorade, and now as Kendrick has just reached a level that no other rapper ever has so clearly, in this space where nobody has ever reached, Kendrick is redefining how creative you can even make these things, as he is being a one-of-a-kind tactician that nobody else can even challenge, it feels like, at this point, because of how high of a level he's operating at. As in this second Gatorade vid, which Kendrick has narrated, typical fashion of one of the most genius creatives that we have out right now. Every word that he has said meant something here, and with what Kendrick told us within these 30 seconds, was really, I guess, the most relatable thing that he has said to the rest of the rap game, and especially the people who have consistently turned on him and tried to disrespect his run here, as for a second, Kendrick really jumped down to their level and said, every morning I lose. But now, of course, with Kendrick being Kendrick, he isn't saying that he's losing like all these other clowns that call themselves rappers in this era where he is raising the bar higher and higher. And of course he's playing on words and is talking about how because of his hard work, he's losing sweat, time, and what feels the most true out of this the more and more he is leveling up, and especially with what we have just seen from Joey. With the levels of greatness he is at, he is losing his own peace. And now after Kendrick is sure to include the phrase here when he is talking about losing sweat drop after drop after drop, well, of course you know exactly who Kendrick is trying to troll here, and even with something he is doing for Gatorade. Again, Kendrick is not just beefing with people, but he is playing this game of chess where the diss is so subtle that of course anybody who is not in the know of what's going on won't even pick up on this and what's happening, but for the people who do, and for Drake, which is the most important person to receive this, him and everybody around him is being reminded that no matter what they try to do from here on out, they are never going to get back to the spot that they want to be at, and they will never be able to get away with what OVO did before Kendrick just humiliated every single one of them. And now as Kendrick ended this
And understand, going back to Drake is the one that's known for doing this as well. This used to be Drake's thing. But now that Kendrick has the opportunity, he has that spotlight and the attention, now we're seeing that Drake cannot compete on any level. He cannot do the artistic communication and get as petty as Kendrick because he's not and skilled. This is a Pulitzer Prize winner. I don't think Drake understood that, man. He got into a battle with a Pulitzer Prize winner. And on that side of the beef are the ones that'll say that you're fake woke, or you're taking things too seriously, or you're too deep. If you ask them to read a book, they go based off feelings. They don't go based off the scientific method. They don't go based off a works cited page. So now you see the biggest difference between Drake and Kendrick. So listen to the music and listen to hip hop and the records that now are being broken. When hip hop was down to about 23%, they were going around saying that they weren't even signing rappers anymore. They were signing Afro beats and country music artists because rap was down. So, come on, man.
Entire video saying that he makes sure that he loses all of this so that he always wins. I mean, whether it's Drake, Joey, or anyone else. Kendrick is sending out warnings and disses to everyone within these platforms and spaces that are just doubling and tripling down on the fact that he is so above the rest of the competition that if you're gonna try to diss him, you have to try a lot harder than what everyone else has so far. And from Kendrick referencing Family Matters and Drake's drop line once again, which easily has to be one of the most haunting things that anybody has ever said in a rap career. And I am sure if Drake could, while he would never admit it, he would take that back because that line has never sounded worse, especially in this context. It's even beyond that, Whitney Alfred's brother Taylor being in this thing alongside Kendrick as well, which once again is showing to all those weirdo Drake fans at OVO that obviously Kendrick and Whitney are good and that their attempts to create issues between these two are just not a real thing. Because again, Whitney's own brother would not be supporting Kendrick and doing something like this if they weren't on the best terms, because that's just not how things work. Again, when you put this together, overall, Kendrick Lamar is just helping everyone around him win, while he is just being this master tactician in terms of just not letting up on his competition in a way that is so silent and directed to specific people that without most people even realizing, he is erasing his rival's own impact and disses while only moving up the rankings himself. And now again, just to get on Kendrick's level and really match this run at all, what the message that Kendrick is trying to send is that it's going to take anyone a lot to try and reach what he is doing and even get a response. And now speaking of Kendrick's beef and getting him to actually engage with...
Like I said, it's going to take a lot, man. It's going to take a lot. It's not good enough just to rap, man. No, this ain't it.
Diss tracks taking a lot. This is really the lesson that Joey is learning right now, because beyond the direct disses to Drake here, and really the general sentiment, which is now of course applying to Joey because the shoe fits. Alongside this, during Kendrick's final show at SoFi Stadium in LA, when Kendrick was performing a fan favorite track, Stand Out from GNX, and a perfect song for a stadium here in none other than track 9 off of that record in Peekaboo. Kendrick did not do what he has been doing for the rest of the tour, and even when he was in the Super Bowl, which was rap both the guest and solo parts himself, Kendrick ended up bringing out the first rapper from GNX at a spot in this tour, and just speaking volumes about how much Kendrick believes in this guy and the message he wanted to send here. The only rapper to join Kendrick on this stage besides Playboi Carti and Baby Keem. Now, who I am talking about here is none other than AZ Chike, who did his entire guest verse and everything else on Peekaboo. And now I have to say, for a rapper who was so fresh into their career and who has only gained the popularity and larger spotlight with this very song and moment, while of course on the surface we are seeing a featured rapper perform a massive record alongside Kendrick, when you realize that during the rest of these tour spots and in the place that it has never been more perfect, for these recent shows, other GNX alum whose vocals played during the performance like Lefty and Roddy Ricch and even Dodie Six, who despite all of the drama he has had with Kendrick because of his own...
Because I remember I seen that Roddy was at a few of those concerts too. I forgot which ones, but like I mentioned earlier, shout out to AZ Chike. He did his thing. He deserved it. Absolutely. So this is an extremely sensitive moment. This is extremely important. Like, this is literally hip-hop history. So Kendrick, he couldn't play no games with it. He can play games. So the people that got on stage are the ones who need to be on stage.
Crash out. tried to squash his beef with Kendrick, I guess, and at the end of the day, Kendrick does still play his vocals during when he plays Hey Now. I mean, with all of this, as these artists, and in someone like Roddy's case, a full-fledged star in hip-hop, had the chance to be on stage with Kendrick and run their guest appearances within the setlist and moments that were already there and planned out, and of course would have just been so seamless. With all of these names not, and AZ being out in this time where he was on stage next to Kendrick after he was a part of the whole Lyrical Royal Rumble with Joey right before this. Well, I really think that on Kendrick Lamar's end, more than just helping an artist who he really believes can be a full-fledged star, this was a tactical move that he wanted to make, both to help AZ develop and help him get closer to becoming a bigger and bigger name in the rap game. Because again, and I will say, it does seem like out of every rapper on GNX, the way Kendrick rapped his verse at even the Super Bowl just shows how he sees the vision for him and wants him to be very close with PG Lang and him as he is trying to become a star and make his movement just bigger and bigger. But beyond that, in terms of everything that just went down in hip-hop, and again, with AZ just going against Joey himself and in a beef, which is all about getting to Kendrick Lamar for Joey, well, with Kendrick bringing out AZ, and let's face it, letting him perform for a crowd that is bigger than Joey or any rapper besides a few others have ever been in front of, well, Kendrick is really trying to place his pieces on the board against Joey, and let him know that despite how funny you can try and spin his name around to sound, and really within that how it may have seemed like Joey ended him off with that, well, despite all that, he is still taking W's, and very similar to Kendrick pulling out.
And like I was talking about earlier, this is one of the reasons why I can't see that Kendrick will even go out of his way to respond to Joey. Because there's way too many people that Joey, he did his thing, but he did not destroy. There was no knockouts. So if you're not knocking out people that are supposedly inferior to you, right? If you're going against Kendrick, in Joey's eyes, if he's your peer, motherfucker, you're supposed to easily take care of Ray, easily take care of Daylight, easily take care of AZ, right? And I don't feel like he did. He did his thing, of course, but it was toe to toe. They were boxing. There was not a clear heavyweight versus featherweight. Nah, these were two evenly. Well, I'm gonna say two, but Joey versus everybody else, they were evenly matched. I don't believe that Joey. Nah, this ain't it right now. This ain't it, man.
Out the brake lights with the red GNX on the first night after all of these tracks dropped in the first place, Kendrick once again seems to be sending Joey the message that he failed to take down these newer and less experienced rappers, and really with this, while some people who don't understand competition in rap are trying to make it seem like Kendrick is using these guys to sort of dodge Joey, in actuality, in this time where the sport of rap is crossing over with an artistic genius and when he has never been at a better point in his career, this really just seems like Kendrick's way of upping what a rap competition can be like and letting Joey know overall that once again, if he wants to get his attention and genuinely get in a lyrical back and forth, he is going to have to work a lot harder, because with AZ walking on this stage right alongside him after their beef, well, it's really showing that Kendrick is unbothered right now in terms of the disses that has came his way, and is not impressed with what Joey is doing against him, not in terms of what he is doing for the sport of rap, because I am sure Kendrick loves that there is a newfound surge of people rapping, and that there's MCs who want to have a beef with bars and not with all the antics that somebody like Drake does. But still, with what's going on with these MCs, it is still a competition, and for trying to compete with the king and get on the same playing field as him, Kendrick really just seems to be sending a hard message here of what the bar is going to be to get him to get in the ring. And now,
Absolutely, and we just talk about influence as well, because a lot of these rappers, the last 2 years, y'all remember when Kendrick and Drake first started beefing, everybody wanted to beef. There were even stories about people trying to create fake beef just to have a beef. Everybody was trying to rap. So now the ball is still going. Snowball is still rolling. It's compound interest at this point. Kendrick has these dudes rapping again. And we talked about it for the last year. Is lyricism back? And people were saying, man, we can't say it necessarily because Kendrick, he's doing this thing. Right? We are loving the lyricism right now, but is it a movement or is it just a moment? And now we're seeing, hey, it's a year later and they're still rapping. It's like, all right.
Now, after Ray Vaughn also told us that Kendrick authorized him to diss Joey in the first place on his GoldenEye response track, this really does also make you wonder, with AZ being here and after he dissed Joey this week as well, that maybe Kendrick really did have a say within this beef, and he was so unimpressed with what Joey has done so far and is trying to just get him to swing harder. That with both rappers like Ray and AZ, he made them earn some very important reps against him instead of just him jumping in and taking this thing over very quickly. And now with all of this overall, no matter what you want to think about it, well, I think Kendrick Lamar has sent the message as loud and clear as you possibly could be with subliminal and cryptic disses, that he is good right now from engaging in this beef with Joey, and whether it's because his disses are not saying much or it's because he has not jumped out and made a full-on Kendrick Lamar diss track without mentioning other people or tiptoeing around his name in the beginning. Well, because of all of that, Kendrick is still waiting for the real diss because he does not see this guy as a worthwhile opponent, and to be honest, I do think that as Joey has an album that will drop before August 30th, and everyone now knows that, and within this moment, of course, it seems like he's trying to do an East Coast version of what Kendrick did for the sport of rap and the entire coast he is from with an album like GNX. I think it's obvious, and that Kendrick maybe even knows right now, that a bigger diss is going to come his way, and it will be all about him, and it will try to create this rap beef that will be even bigger than anything we have seen so far. And now with this, really for this main reason, which all comes down to the fact that Joey wants to do so much more against Kendrick in the booth and already probably has it planned out. If Joey wants to play games with these little lines that are trying to
I understand. Joey does have an album coming out. So once again, like I said, if you want to go against Kendrick, you gotta replace, man. You can't just try to beat him with words and no. We need all of it. We need the visuals. We need the moments. We need all that.
get him to jump out, Kendrick is going to play games back with him and try to tire him out before this thing even starts by making somebody like AZ Cheek seem cooler and bigger than he ever has been. And I mean, if Joey really is who he says he is, maybe he will be able to move through all of this and get to a point where he earns that Kendrick response, but for now, Kendrick Lamar clearly thinks that despite what Joey did and how exciting and even great for hip-hop it was, well, to quote the man himself, it is still not enough. And so now with all that said, let me know.
Hey man, shout out Fantastic Hip Hop, dog.